Hello YouTubers, this is GoldStandards0924 coming at you with another video. So, I haven't really posted a video for a few weeks now. I just haven't really been in the mood to make a video. It's not that I was busy necessarily, but just haven't been in the spirit mainly. So I figured, I was just thinking about this while I was working this afternoon. So I figured, why not make a video for today? And it's just basically going to be my reaction video to some of these TV shows I'll be discussing in regards to their season finales. So it's not going to be like a new installment or anything like that, but it's just going to be kind of like just a bit of a summary of what happened and just my thoughts on whether or not I like that particular episode or how I like the way this particular season ended. So that's going to be the general consensus of this video. So it's going to be a long one, but I hope you just sit back, relax, keep this audio playing. Yeah, so without further ado, I'm just going to get into this video today. So to kind of kick things off, I wanted to talk about the season 3 finale of Arrow. So basically, this is the ultimate conclusion of the battle between Arrow and Ra's al Ghul, in the League of Assassins, who are like the main villains of this season. Primarily Ra's al Ghul, but eventually, this season finale episode wasn't. I mean, it was decent, but I think compared to the previous 2 season finale episodes, I would say this one's kind of a bit of a disappointment because it didn't really try anything new as far as finale goes. Because it just has this sort of tradition that there's this villain coming in and trying to take over the city in any way, shape, or form, or destroy it. And so season 3 was kind of no different from that. So you had like this virus that's spreading throughout Starling City, just like they did in the flashbacks when Oliver was in China. So yeah, so Oliver ends up pulling a ruse on Ra's al Ghul, and eventually starts to align himself with his main accomplices. So despite that, everyone's been kind of feeling lukewarm over to Oliver's inside jobs sort of strategy, just trying to to kind of quote unquote destroy them from the inside out. So yeah, this just kind of been kind of a so-so idea because why would Oliver betray us? Why would he do the things that he did and just sell his soul to Ra's al Ghul? Why would he sell his soul to somebody that who was involved or responsible for the death of his former girlfriend Sarah? Yeah, so that was the thing, and there were some things I enjoyed, like that. Some of the cinematography of the fight scenes, and the airplane scene where Oliver and Nyssa were fighting inside the plane and eradicating all the comrades that were aligning with Ra's al Ghul. Some of the leagues. So yeah, so eventually they ended up going back to Starling City. They both try to track down some of the people that might have been contaminated with the virus in that show or that episode, and yeah, so all hell breaks loose, and eventually kind of culminates in this fight with Oliver and Ra's al Ghul, and they have like a brief fight scene on a bridge, and basically Oliver ends up defeating Ra's al Ghul. And it was pretty easy of him, because the first time he fought, like, early in, like, the first half of the season, it just took him, he just had a hard time fighting him off. And I'm guessing because, he didn't really have the weapons needed to fight him, aside from, that sword that he was fighting alongside. So, he wasn't in, equipped form, so I thought it was kind of questionable in a way. Because he struggled to fight Ra's al Ghul the first time around, and he just manages to kill him, just like that. But, yeah, so he ends up killing him, and then and then Oliver falls off a bridge when he gets shot, and then Felicity ends up rescuing Oliver just for that moment for their relationship that was been going forward since the end of season 2 going to season 3. So yes, so Oliver and Felicity are on good terms, and they even drove in the sunset by the end of the episode. We do, however, get a cameo by Thea, who was dressed in the Red Arrow suit that Roy used to wear. So I thought that was pretty cool. But we really need to see more of her in that episode. So yeah, I just kind of disappointed at that. And I mentioned about the cinematography, just being as good as usual. But I think they just never really set up what would happen for season 4. There was just nothing. I mean, aside from maybe Ray trying to conduct his experiment with the Atom suit, and then just basically backfiring once again. Other than that, there wasn't really a whole lot of scenes where it just felt like some shit's gonna go down in season 4. I mean, compared to the last 2 season finales, like in the first season where Oliver had this fight against Malcolm, and then the whole city was about to be in shambles because he launched these sort of detonators and destroying the Everglades and pretty much nearly the entire population of Starling City. And then you also factor in with Malcolm's son Tommy, who ends up dying in a building collapse, and and it just, this first season just ended on a downer note. It's like, what's the fate of that particular city, And then season 2, everything's, there's some reconstruction going on. It's a bit of a sort of, just trying to redeem themselves from all the chaos that's been going on. And eventually, we get to meet, Deathstroke, who meets up with Oliver's mother, but then, eventually, Mora ends up dying, getting impaled by Deathstroke. And, it just kind of got him fired up, despite some little emotional moments here and there. But yeah, everything, he had a whole army, and he just basically threw Slade off Starling City, and then bam, he's out somewhere where he can't hurt anybody. And even fact, and also the actor, Manu Bennett, I think it was his name. I thought he really pulled off a pretty good job as Deathstroke in that episode. Or as the season I meant, but you get what I mean. So yeah, so as far as Ra's al Ghul's role, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't say he was as menacing compared to what Deathstroke was in the previous season, but I guess he was okay. But and they really kind of exploited the Oliver Felicity relationship a bit too much. And I think a lot of fans kind of saw it coming anyways, just kind of turning into, kind of like falling in the predicament that Clark and Lana had in Smallville. So eventually, they get their moment. Oliver has his happy ending, and, him and Felicity, driving the sunset. Diggle's kind of, still kind of getting adjusted to trusting Oliver once again after all this secret betraying back in, this whole idea of supposedly betraying them, and then all of a sudden this was all an inside job, it's all a ruse. But Diggle isn't handling that very well, but he's trying to kind of redeem himself in that way. Yeah, so I would probably be looking forward to maybe Diaz, now that she's part of the superhero fighting team for the next season, and maybe onwards. But yeah, so I'll say overall the 3rd season finale was just a little bit disappointing in a way, but I mean it still kept me in the edge of my seat, so it didn't bore me to tears necessarily. But I will say it could have been better, because we've already seen Starling City getting corrupted like a billion times already, so it's like they didn't really bother trying something else. But oh well. What can you do? So yeah, so that's kind of really season 3 there. Um, Next show I want to really talk about is probably Once Upon a Time. So they aired a 2-hour special season finale on ABC, and in this two-parter, the whole gang ends up traveling this different universe thanks to this author who rewrites all history, and or at least makes his own vision of his so-called happy ending, or his a sort of like a kind of makes you want to think of a badly written fan fiction or story, just emphasizing on wishful fulfillment sort of thing. And everyone except Henry, have forgotten their memories, or they're stuck in this sort of universe where the villains are the good guys. Some of the good guys in the actual show end up becoming evil, like Snow White and Prince Charming, who are like the evil ones. And then you also have Regina, who's kind of sort of like an anti-hero, but just can't get her comeuppance as far as having her own moment is concerned. And Emma is kind of trapped in this sort of layer where she can't get out, and Captain Hook is kind of like a weak, kind of uh, like a lackey to Blackbeard. So yeah, so Henry, being the, going on to become the author later on. Spoiler alert. So yeah, so Henry, yeah, he gets, he goes in this story and basically tries to kind of get the main characters to remember who they are, and trying to help them get their happy endings back, and just try to rewrite the story as it is, as opposed to being told, just have it be like a natural progression. Yeah, so I did kind of enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty good episode for the most part. The only thing I really didn't like about it was probably, maybe it wasn't dislike, but maybe my little gripe was probably the fact, I just had a hard time buying Snow White as like this evil being. I just felt, she was a little too innocent. I'm probably in the minority, but I thought she was a little too innocent compared to like someone like Regina, who started off as this evil queen in the earlier seasons, and then it was just kind of very odd. But the idea was understandable. I thought the idea was interesting. Seeing Prince Charming and Snow White, just being their opposite counterparts. But and I just honestly had a hard time buying it. But let's see what else. Maybe Emma and Captain Hook's role in that episode, because you would think that Emma's being like this strong, upbeat type of woman, and and then the fact she wasn't playing like a damsel in distress. I would have liked to see how that would have played out, but that didn't really materialize. So they had like Captain Hook being more of kind of like a weakling, and then not knowing how to fight and stuff. So I thought that was kind of a minor nitpick there. Let's see. So eventually they got their happy endings. They finally got out of that story and basically tried to get them out into the actual storybook world. So yeah, so eventually some dark magic comes out, and then basically there's this black smoke that's coming out trying to possess people. And I also forgot about Rumpelstiltskin. Oh boy, my mind's all over the place, so I apologize. Yeah, so he played a big part in this. So he was kind of like the hero, as like a knight in shining armor, and then the author tries to convince him that that he isn't the guy that he thinks he is, and that he wants to kind of try to get in his ear, thinking that that he should be on the dark side. That this is not how you are. This is not what you are. Yeah, so eventually they were kind of he's been having like this this sort of heart attack, so he kind of lost sort of any purity left in his heart. So eventually he collapsed, but the other author comes in and basically, what does he do? He just tries to rid away some of the darkness in his heart, and it turns out bleach white. But then it ends up what they didn't realize was that eventually it unleashes all over Storybook. So the author dies supposedly, and then it was going to get Regina, but then Emma decides to sacrifice Regina, and basically she gets consumed into darkness and inside the dagger that Rumpelstiltskin used to possess, but not anymore. So that's really how the season 4 finale ended. I apologize if I kind of spoiled a little bit for those that have never seen that episode. So I'll probably list it down maybe on the topic or on the title video or even the description box, just to kind of notice that there will be spoilers. But yeah, so I thought that was a pretty unique twist in a way, because normally when they bring in, normally when they end finales, they always bring in someone like this new big bad villain of the month or big bad villain of the season, and then everything just kind of segs way into the next. But here, this was actually a little different. Emma gets sucked in, and now she has the potential to become much more of the dark side. Just kind of become more evil and sinister potentially. Now that she's cursed she's cursed somewhat like what Rumpelstiltskin was kind of going through for most of the series. Yeah, so I'm pretty optimistic. Hopefully, I'm not overly optimistic, since this has the potential to be a letdown, or potential to be good, but you get what I mean. So I would have liked to see maybe like little flashback scenes, just to kind of recap all the events that have happened throughout the 4 seasons of Once Upon a Time, just to kind of see all the good deeds that Emma's have done, and finding her parents, and finding Henry, who was revealed to be her adopted son, and then just recap like every key important event. All the people that have that were influenced by her involvement, and trying to set Storybook free, and meeting up with Captain Hook, and then finding out that her parents, all that, basically all that jazz. Yeah, so I would have liked to have seen like little custom flashback sequences, just to kind of, just kind of give the viewers the feeling that, oh my God, this isn't happening. Is she gonna go to the dark side, or is she, is she gone for good? I mean, they dub her as the savior of the fairy tale world, so so yeah, I thought they could have maybe added like a little bit of flashback sequences, and just to kind of culminate into like, she's now, done the unthinkable, or she's, that she could be potentially gone for good, Yeah, so that's really my thoughts on the season 4 finale. I haven't really seen the whole season 4 as a whole, or at least I need to like recap all the other seasons like 2 and 3, and probably just kind of re-watch the seasons 2, 3, and 4, basically, just kind of get a better gist of what's gonna happen, or just how these sort of moments unfold, and how it just kind of get a better understanding, is basically what I'm trying to say. So I've been rambling, so I'm pretty optimistic. I mean, I hope they do like some other Disney tributes, like the Gargoyles and all that stuff, or like Hercules, Aladdin, more Disney-based characters, and actually staying true to their original character backstories, because they didn't do that with some of the recent villains, like like Cruella and I can't even pronounce it. Maleficent, and I forgot what the other one was, so it's not really in my damn. So I'm practically getting carried away with this sort of review or reaction videos. So that's really my thoughts on season 4's Once Upon a Time. So probably looking forward to season 5 and see how things unfold. So you know, Emma's kind of going through a Dean Winchester type of phase. And speaking of Dean Winchester, we're going to get to Supernatural. So they haven't really, they have yet to show the actual season finale episode next week. So by the time they show it, this video is going to be dated. So I'm pretty sure we all know that, you know, Dean is going to eventually get rid of that mark of Cain, you know, with the help of Sam and Castiel and many other characters along the way. So we know for sure that they're gonna find a way to get rid of that mark of Cain. So it's just a matter of how it plays out, and they also kind of teased the return of the evil Crowley. So so I would like to see how that goes for season 11. You know, the Winchester brothers, you know, they've been having this on and off dissension. I mean, ever since, you know, Dean died the first time around. You know, I mean, their brother bonding has been kind of been on a downward spiral. You know, Dean getting killed back in season 3 due to a hellhound dogs, and you know, Sam not trying to save Dean even when he died the first time, and just basically, you know, Sam's always out doing something and hang around with Ruby, and then, you know, Ruby ended up betraying Sam. You know, just a lot of stuff that has been going on the past several seasons. And then, you know, Charlie ends up dying, you know, like many other supporting characters that have died. You know, like Bobby died, Charlie died. The mother and daughter from season 2. Let's see, who else? I think that's all I could think of. But there were plenty of other recurring characters that have came and went over the years. So so yeah, so there's just been, you know, a lot of deaths going on. So yeah, so it's definitely not, you know, I don't think the Winchester brothers are ever gonna, you know, be on good terms, like, consistently, you know. And you know, Sam lying to Dean, and, you know, just, it's just bizarre, you know. And yeah, so I really enjoy, you know, Dean as being evil and being the demon, you know, just pun intended on the demon part. So yeah, so I'm definitely gonna probably look forward to the season finale. So I think we all know what's gonna come down. It's just a matter of how it's gonna carry way into season 11, and, you know, the evil Crowley stuff. And I mean, I'm surprised the show's ran over a decade, surprisingly. You know, pretty soon it's gonna, you know, probably surpass Smallville as the longest running WB/CW. You know, that, and I think Seventh Heaven ran just as long as Supernatural has now. So yeah, so it's definitely come a long way. I mean, whoever thought that this show would have ran as long as it did, you know, just even way back in the first season, you know. And you know, it's like you meet people, then they leave or they die, and, you know, it's just kind of, you know, just as far as, you know, trying to connect with some of the characters are. But definitely, you know, Supernatural. Hopefully I do, like, in-depth reviews of this season, because, you know, this is just my reaction video, so it may maybe sound like, you know, maybe some viewers might come here and just say, like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about and blah blah blah. But hopefully, you know, I mean, I've watched some of the past seasons, so probably have to rewatch them again to kind of get a, you know, better understanding and stuff. So yeah, so definitely, you know, I'm surprised the show has run longer than it did. So yeah, that's Supernatural at that. Flash, I think, you know, yeah, they end up, you know, so they haven't shown the finale as well, so I have yet to see that. So apparently Barry's gonna, you know, fast forward or go back in time to save his mother, but something's gonna happen. I think somebody's life is gonna get exchanged for Barry's mother being alive, because, you know, if you watch that one episode or one scene where Eobard Thawne, who was disguising himself as Harrison Wells, when when the Flash was traveling in time, he was wondering, he was just informing Barry about the consequences of altering history. With every, it's not necessarily a quote that he said, but just kind of like the basic summary that anything that you change, eventually something else is going to happen. There's always going to be another loophole around that's going to have this sort of flaw into it, because time traveling has consequences. So I think someone might die here. As for my prediction, maybe I hope I'm wrong, but I think if Barry Howland successfully saves his mother, then I think that someone, maybe his dad might die, or maybe Iris's father might die or sacrifice himself, or some shit's gonna come down during the season 1 finale. So, I know it hasn't aired yet, so I think by the time it does, I don't think it's gonna change what's my thoughts on it, but yeah, that's really my just a little brief thoughts on the Flash. So I think that's all the shows I really want to discuss. And Power Rangers, as far as Power Rangers related, as Dino Charge is concerned, I'll probably do another video another time. It hasn't even been close to a finale yet. It's been on fucking hiatus, and Nickelodeon doesn't bother to air the newer episodes until like September, and then everyone's just kind of burnt out or just a little rusty as to what has happened over the past 8 episodes. So I'll probably do a Dino Charge recap another time. So that's just my TV finale reactions video goes. I hope I get my points across. I know I was rambling too fast, but hopefully you stuck by. So I just had to get this out. So just to kind of vent on my thoughts on these season finale episodes. So I hope you enjoy it. But till next time, this is Gold Standard 0924 signing out.